Governor Cox, Elder Wojak is here to see you.
My old pal, Wojak, let him in.
What the heck were you thinking, Spencer? Passing a law making homosexuality illegal? Do you have any idea what kind of mess you've created?
Elder Wojak, I understand your concerns, but as you know, the Latter-day Saints Church...
Screw the church. You're messing with my money, Spencer. Do you know what Sleepy Joe has frickin' done? He's revoked Utah's federal highway funding. And you know what that means for the new freeway my construction company was contracted to build? It's delayed indefinitely, all because of your stupid law.
Elder Wojak, I apologize for any inconvenience this law may have caused you, but I cannot simply reverse it. It's what the people of Utah want.
Don't kid yourself, Spencer. You know who's really in charge here? It's not the people of Utah, it's the church. And even though I don't agree with their lifestyle any more than you do, supporting the gays is good for business. And if you don't do something about this, we will make sure you regret it. Don't cross us, Governor.
Hello, and welcome to Saltaire, a Cities Skylines series inspired by Salt Lake City. I'm sure you're wondering what the hell's going on in this city right now. Well, today we're about to embark on a massive highway expansion project, drawing inspiration from an actual interchange in Salt Lake City. If you watched the previous episode, you know that there's been some turmoil in Saltaire, caused by some controversial laws that have passed. In any government-funded project, there are often seemingly incompatible interests that arise. Saltaire has been trying to renovate the Interstate 15 and Interstate 80 interchange and create a new highway connecting the city's western suburbs to the small town of Saltaire Beach, providing a more direct route to the airport. This new highway is called State Route 201, and while some might debate the merits of expanding a freeway into the middle of nowhere, the state was able to secure significant federal funds to build it. Enter Elder Aaron Wojak.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
A high-ranking official in the Latter-day Saints Church and his construction company, Wojak and Associates, which was awarded the exclusive contract to construct the entire highway. However, the state legislature, eager to please the church and participate in the ongoing culture war that divides people in the United States, passed the Strengthening Families of Utah Act, otherwise known as STFU. This has caused the state to have some conflict with the federal government, causing Elder Wojak to rethink his positions on certain social issues. So in-game, what I'm doing here is using the image overlay mod with a screenshot that I've saved from Google Earth of the real-life interchange where State Route 201 begins in Salt Lake City, and I'm tracing the outline of it to the best of my ability to get the general layout. I'm doing this on a blank part of the map away from any buildings so that I can position it into the currently existing layout and then modify it a bit once I get there. It took a lot of trial and error to get this complicated web of spaghetti just right, and to meaningfully resemble the real thing given the game's limited scale. I had to redo the ramp several times to make sure that the general layout matched and all the heights were correct, but eventually I was able to get it.
Good morning, Saltaire. This is the Rise and Shine Morning Show on 102.5 FM KUNT, Utah News Talk, and I'm your host, Taylor. We have some breaking news for you. President Biden has made his way to Saltaire to comment on the Strengthening the Families of Utah Act that was passed last week with overwhelming popular support.
This is outrageous, Taylor. The president has no right to dictate what laws our state should have. Our state's laws should be determined by our own elected officials, not some out-of-touch politician in Washington.
Absolutely, Sarah. This is just another example of the Democrats trying to force their radical agenda on the rest of the country. We all know that the majority of Utahns are against homosexuality.
Let's go to our live feed in Alder Grove, where Sleepy Joe is about to speak.
My fellow Americans, I come to you today as your president. I stand with the LGBTQ community in Saltaire and across the nation in their fight for equal rights and justice. Today, I take a stand against the recent law that criminalizes homosexuality in the state of Utah. This law goes against the values that we as Americans hold dear, of equality and freedom for all. Unfortunately, I do not have the power to change the laws of any individual state. That is why I have directed Transportation Secretary Buttigieg to revoke the state's federal highway funding until this unjust law is overturned. We cannot and will not stand by while discrimination is enshrined in law. I want to make it clear that this is not about politics. This is about human rights. We must stand together as a nation, united in our commitment to freedom and equality for all Americans. So to the LGBTQ community in Utah, and to all those who support them, I say, we stand with you and we will fight with you until justice is served. Thank you, and God bless America.
This is a sad day for Saltaire, Sarah. We need to stand up against this tyranny and defend our state's sovereignty. And let's not forget the consequences of losing the federal highway funding. This will affect our state's infrastructure and delay the planned construction of Highway 201 indefinitely. Is the president willing to sacrifice the safety and convenience of our citizens just to push his agenda?
That's right, Taylor. We cannot let the liberals and their radical agenda destroy our state. Thank you for listening, Saltaire.
And for more updates, be sure to keep it locked on 102.5 FM, KUNT, Utah News Talk.
Now, of course, the federal government had no direct sway over the governor's decision to sign the law in question. But knowing of his close personal relationship with Elder Wojak, the plan to award the construction contract to Wojak and Associates was leaked to the Biden administration by a certain trusted source within the governor's office. Understanding the power held by the Latter-day Saints Church in Utah, the president, or more likely members of his staff, decided to hit Wojak where it hurt: his federal construction contracts, which seemed to coincide with a new revelation by the church president that homosexuality was in fact not a sin. Again, at the end of the day, it's all about business with these guys. To fit the interchange into the existing highway network, I copied it in 2 pieces using Move It and aligned it up in a way that fit, making sure everything connected up correctly and all of the heights of the complex web of ramps made sense and that the curves were reasonable. The interchange I initially built and copied over became more of a guide than anything, as I had to delete and redraw ramps many times to make sure that it was to scale and that everything went where it was supposed to. Working with multiple layers of height like this required me to have pretty significant knowledge of Move It and Network Multitool, as well as a general innate understanding of which heights and ramps are sufficient to clear any vehicles that may pass underneath. This is a process I have learned to do more by feeling than any direct rule, but a good rule of thumb is typically 9 meters distance between ramps is enough to clear any vehicle that passes underneath it. Using Network Multitool's Create Connection mode, I connected up one side of the highway, drawing out a curve, and used the Arrange at Line mode to make it more smooth and sweeping. Next, using Parallel mode, I added a section on the other side and connected it up. This tool came quite in handy to easily and quickly connect up sections that would have otherwise taken a lot of work to make good. With the new interchange being a bit more spread out, it gave me the opportunity to create a connection that had previously been impossible, allowing another point of road access between the South Saltaire and Sugarville neighborhoods. I had to reroute a tram line a little bit to make everything fit, but it was worth it to have a much nicer connection.
Good morning, Saltaire, and welcome back to 102.5 FM, KUNT, Utah News Talk. We have some breaking news for you folks. Governor Cox is about to make an important speech.
That's right, Taylor. Our sources tell us that the governor will be discussing the controversial Strengthening Families of Utah Act, also known as the STFU Act.
This law has been the center of a lot of controversy in the state, with many arguing that it infringes on individual freedoms.
And others argue that it's a necessary step to protect traditional values and families in our state.
Absolutely, Sarah. Well, let's tune in and see what the governor has to say.
My fellow Utahns, today I come to you with an important announcement. After careful consideration and analysis of the economic impact, I have decided to sign an executive order to indefinitely suspend the Strengthening Families of Utah Act. I believe that a strong economy is the foundation of a strong family, and we cannot continue to burden our citizens with unnecessary financial strain. My decision to suspend this act was not taken lightly, and I understand that it may be met with some opposition. However, I want to make it clear that I remain committed to supporting the families of Utah and promoting the values that make our state great. Thank you for your attention, and may God bless the beautiful city of Saltaire and the great state of Utah.
Wow, that's big news, Taylor. I'm glad to hear the governor is finally taking decisive action on this issue.
Definitely, Sarah. We here at Utah News Talk have always been opposed to the STFU law and its restrictions on individual freedoms.
That's right, Taylor. It's refreshing to see a politician that is committed to conservative principles, but also recognizes the importance of bringing jobs and economic growth to our state.
Absolutely, Sarah. We applaud Governor Cox for his leadership and commitment to Utah's future. This is a developing story, so be sure to keep it locked to 102.5 FM KUNT, Utah News Talk. Now back to the tunes.
And just like that, the second the money of powerful business interests was threatened, the controversial law was repealed as quickly as it passed, with many folks claiming they never supported such extreme measures to begin with. The mostly progressive population of Saltaire insists that their week-long protests in front of the state capitol was what led the president to visit and the governor to change his tune. Well-meaning but low-ranking church members claiming to present a more inclusive vision for their faith say it was their doing. But behind closed doors, this pointless highway to nowhere wasn't so pointless after all. With his contract reinstated, Elder Wojak and his company got to work quickly on building the State Route 201 freeway, having it finished within just a couple of months. The final segment being the interchange with Interstate 80 just east of Saltaire Beach.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on a midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old. Back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet dream. The shadows of that time are cast beneath.
In the months after the highway construction was completed, the landscape of the long-neglected Jordan River Business Center began to change drastically. The decommissioned water treatment plants and rundown warehouses that used to exist on this plot of land were demolished, paving way for new development opportunities. This opened up a world of possibility for Elder Wojak's business associates within the church, who were involved in a range of industries spanning from manufacturing to logistics. The federal government even sold some of the right-of-way that it had acquired for the interchange project back to Wojak and Associates at a steep discount. This led to the establishment of a thriving industrial corridor, complete with a state-of-the-art freight train line that was being constructed to connect the bustling center with the agricultural hub of Zion City. To support this growth, a massive rail yard and cargo station were built, and every company involved in the expansion chose Wojak and Associates as their exclusive contractor. With this development, the Jordan River Business Center has transformed from a desolate landscape to a bustling hub of economic activity, thanks to the foresight and hard work of those involved. As a concession to the city, some of the land was reserved to rebuild the old water treatment plants, bringing in a brand new state-of-the-art facility to help to process the city's sewage as well as the runoff created by the nearby industries and keep the water supply of the city clean for decades to come. The future is bright for the empty expanse of land west of Saltaire, the spirit of opportunity casting a warm glow over the barren earth. For years, this land was seen as worthless, a desolate wasteland with no potential for development or growth. But as the city expands and the demand for endless progress continues, this land is set to become prime real estate for future expansion. Thanks to the new State Route 201 freeway, this once ignored corner of the valley is now easily accessible. As Saltaire continues to expand, the demand for new housing, businesses, and infrastructure will only grow stronger. And the shrewd business people who have invested in this area, led by the visionary Aaron Wojak himself, are perfectly positioned to reap the rewards and profits of this expansion. They see the potential in this land where others saw only barren earth. And they're working tirelessly to build a bright future for the entire Saltaire Valley. As the sun rises over the empty land once again, it's clear that the future is brighter than ever for Saltaire and the people who call it home.